Hi, I'm Scott Jensen, former Assembly Speaker,
And I'm Chuck Chvala, former Senate Majority Leader.
and we're the insiders. You know, when I used to work for Tommy Thompson a long time ago, he would always say to me that the elections were won or lost a year in advance. We're a year out from the 2022 elections. Chuck, are you seeing any trends or events in this year that you think will be a big deal in shaping the 2022 elections?
I think Governor Thompson, as always, was pretty right on with that statement. And yes, I do. I think clearly the dominant force in our society right now is COVID. And coming out of that strongly in Wisconsin, and also having our economy in pretty darn good shape and having budgets in pretty good shape, I think that bodes well for Democrats because they're in charge in Wisconsin and nationally. I think it bodes well for Governor Evers. He's obviously been the leader of the state during this time, and he's made some good decisions and gotten good results on COVID. I also think that when he has the foil, as Governor Thompson did, of a legislature of a different party, I think it will make him look good. I think that the federal money that's available for him to spend under the ARP program will allow him to, and has allowed him to do good things for businesses across the state, individuals, and communities. So I think that's going to help him. And I think that will be that the good economy and coming out of COVID strongly, I think is a big deal. I think that will also hurt Ron Johnson. I think that the only thing that's a big issue that could help Ron Johnson and will mitigate and will be the challenge for Governor Evers is, will Donald Trump continue to be a lock on the Republican Party? And will that lock translate into votes? Will the Trump people turn out in next year's election? And I think that's the counterbalancing force.
You know, normally elections, I would say, are decided, particularly off-year elections, are decided in response to the national incumbent and also to the economy. In fact, they're quite often determined by the state of the economy. I think in this case, both parties have now pushed so much money into the economy. The economy is still going to be doing pretty well in 2022, and economics will not be the big issue of the 2022 elections. I think it's more likely to be cultural questions. This tension that we've seen between rural and urban interests, between conservatives and progressives, I think is going to express itself in a series of different cultural issues, whether it be the rising crime rates that we're seeing in cities around the country, whether it is questions about what our kids are being taught in school. I think those sort of things will energize people. This is a 50-50 state. The election will be determined by which side is more energized, as it has been for quite some time now, and it shifted back and forth between the Democrats and Republicans. I think this time that a lot of sort of socially conservative cultural issues versus the woke left will be the animating force of the 2022 elections.
Wow. I would be saddened if Republicans, who themselves have decided now that we have done way too much in overcharging and putting people in prison. I've heard Republicans talk about that issue more than Democrats. Even Donald Trump went down the road of trying to step back from those issues. I would be really saddened if the Republicans decided to double down now on tough on crime is their message for the voters. It is a question of leadership. Is that what Republicans decide to do in order to take an election? I would be really saddened if they did. It might be. Well, but what I would say about that is that to the extent Republicans want to run on cultural issues, what they're really saying is, let's double down on Trump and all the hidden messages and the dog whistle politics. And let's just bring them out and make them stronger. That would be a sad thing for our country. But I think Republicans are in a tough spot. They don't have a lot of facts on their side. And if that's the case, maybe they'll choose to go in that direction. If they do, it's a sad moment for our country and for our state.
Well, here's a fact. The violent crime rate in Milwaukee has doubled in the last 18 months. That's an issue. And that will be an issue in the 2022 elections.
The question is that issue because Democrats are not against violence? Of course they are. But when you put it in the context, as Scott did, of talking about it as the woke left versus something else, that it makes it sound like Democrats are against. Of course, Democrats are against. Like, Democrats are against people being killed. And and by the way, we all know that a lot of the violence that's happening is happening in the African American community. Do you think African Americans want to be shot? Do you think that
No,
they want their neighbors and their children
no,
killed?
they want to know
No, of
what
course
happened
not.
to the police force. The city of Milwaukee cut its police force by 150 officers. That's a
The
problem.
reality is, yeah, there was no policy that anyone adopted in an attempt to make cities more violent or more difficult. In the city of Madison, you'll see these trends across the country, and it has less to do with that than it does to do with a very difficult COVID situation and a lot of mental health issues and mental health problems. It was not the lack of a police officer on the corner that caused that problem. But I'll tell you what, if that becomes the message, I could see people buying into that. And I think it would be a sad time for us.
Well, we'll see what the 2022 elections really revolve around, but that's our predictions for what the issues that just might be there in the next set of elections. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you next time.